Did you know that the INFJ Myers-Briggs personality type is the rarest personality type in the world? In fact, this type represents only 1.5% of the population. Known for being a walking, talking contradiction, INFJs can come across as being full of imagination, extremely logical, and perfectionist, but at the same time, easygoing and relaxed. The reason for this is because their combination of introversion, intuition, feeling, and judgment traits are extremely unusual. Today on Charisma, we're going to be looking at the 6 signs you're an INFJ personality type. But before we do that, let's break down what exactly the INFJ traits mean. Introversion. The first INFJ trait is introversion. Despite what a lot of people think, being introverted doesn't mean that you're shy. While shyness refers to a form of social anxiety, introversion refers to how you get your energy. If you're an introvert, you need time alone after social gatherings to recharge your batteries. You're also more comfortable spending time with your inner thoughts than with the external world. Intuition. The intuition trait means that you see the world in terms of patterns and deeper meanings. You're great at finding the messages behind things and finding the connection between seemingly dissimilar events. Your mind always works in a way that makes you more focused on the future than on the past. Feeling. The feeling trait means that you make decisions with your heart and by considering the emotions and values of those around you. You care about making people happy and maintaining harmony amongst others, and how you make choices reflects this. Judgment. The judging trait refers to how others see you. In this case, you're viewed by others as being organized and always having a plan for everything. Even if you feel carefree and flexible on the inside, your judging trait manifests in your external world as someone who has a sense of order. Others likely see you as a work before play person and someone who's extremely responsible. Now that we have a deeper understanding of what makes up an INFJ, let's take a look at the signs that you might be this rare personality type. Number 1, you have strong intuition. Have you ever intuitively felt like you knew the answer to something without fully understanding why you felt that way? If so, this is a sign that you may be an INFJ. As an INFJ, you're gifted with an incredibly strong sense of intuition because your mind is constantly pulling data from your environment and then connecting the pieces together into patterns. You do this unconsciously, so you often find you have the answer to something without even knowing what led you to that decision in the first place. For example, maybe one day you were walking down the street and you felt the sudden urge to cross onto the sidewalk on the opposite side. Seconds later, there was a car crash right where you were walking. Or maybe out of nowhere you felt a desire to call one of your friends, and when you reached them, you discovered that they were having a horrible day and really needed the comfort you could provide. While these may seem like mystical events on the surface, it's actually because, as an INFJ, you're extremely sensitive to your environment. You're constantly absorbing information that your mind assembles into patterns and larger meanings. This then manifests as a strong sense of intuition. Number 2, you feel different from others. As we mentioned at the start of the video, INFJs are the rarest personality type, representing only about 1.5% of the total population. Because of this, you might feel like you're different from others and can't fully relate to them, leading you to spend more time in your own world than with others. And because you feel different, you often have a hard time opening up to others and letting them in. In fact, years might go by before you share the most intimate parts of yourself with even your close friends and family. Your friends might feel like they never truly know you, or that there's always something more to learn. Your need for privacy is due to several reasons. For one, you might not feel like you can fully trust someone else with your secrets. Maybe you're concerned that they don't value deep conversations enough, or perhaps you're worried that they won't be able to keep your secrets safe. Secondly, because you're so sensitive to your outer world as an empathetic person, you're hesitant to open up to others out of a kind of self-preservation. In your mind, if you don't share intimate details of yourself, you feel that you're protecting yourself from the possibility of getting hurt. Number 3, you have a strong sense of morals. One of the defining characteristics of INFJs is that you are crystal clear on your set of morals, and you have strong convictions about these values. Once you've formed your beliefs, it's nearly impossible for someone to try to convince you about them otherwise. Because your morals are so important to you, you might even organize your life around them. For instance, your romantic relationships, friendships, and even where you choose to live will likely all be in support of your underlying values. Many INFJs also find ways to incorporate their value system into their career. You might be drawn to a career as a therapist, a social worker, or a doctor. Famous INFJs include Mohandas Gandhi, Jane Goodall, Florence Nightingale, and Eleanor Roosevelt, all people who worked tirelessly to improve the lives of others according to their value system. Mohandas Gandhi, for instance, dedicated his life to bettering conditions for humankind. He did this by fighting for civil rights and freedoms for disadvantaged groups across the globe. Number 4. You're empathetic. Have you ever walked into a crowded room and felt overwhelmed by a sense of anxiety or stress? Or, on the flip side, maybe you've entered a social event and felt immediately calm and relaxed. This is because, as an INFJ, you have a strong empathetic side, which translates to having the ability to feel others' emotions just by being around them. You might even understand what someone's feeling before they're fully aware of it themselves. And while this can certainly be a useful tool, there is a downside to you being so empathetic. It can be incredibly overwhelming to experience others' emotions, so you might at times feel the need to withdraw from social settings so that you can recharge, or if you're unable to leave a social setting, you might put up walls, per se, around you to protect yourself from others' emotions. When you do this, others might mistakenly think you're cold and unfeeling, but you're actually doing it out of an act of self-protection. Number 5. You value deep relationships. If you've ever been at a party or another social gathering and found yourself engaged in small talk with strangers, you probably wanted to get out of there as fast as you could. That's because INFJs despise small talk. Instead, they favor deep, meaningful conversations about philosophy and personal life goals. You're likely the one in your group of friends who pushes others to talk about things that they feel real and have real consequences, and you avoid surface-level conversation like gossip. What's more, it bothers you when people try to avoid these conversations. For instance, if you notice that your friend was upset and they gave you a wishy-washy answer as to why, you'd likely tell them that you can tell that they're not telling you the whole truth. This is partly because you hate facades, but also because you find value and meaning in helping others and enabling them to go deeper with conversations. And because you place such a high value on meaningful relationships, if you have a friend who doesn't live up to this standard, you'll likely spend less time with them or cut them out of your life completely. Number 6. You have trouble processing your own emotions. What can sometimes feel strange about being an INFJ is that you're able to easily understand the emotions of others, yet you often have a difficult time understanding and processing your own emotions. This is because you have an external feeling function, which enables you to comprehend external emotions, or the emotions of others, more easily than internal ones, or your own emotions. Furthermore, you have an introverted thinking function, which means that you analyze your own feelings through logical reasoning rather than simply trusting them. If you're feeling sad, you might try to reason your way out of feeling that way by reminding yourself that you have a great job, great friends, and a great place to live, instead of realizing deeper reasons you might be feeling down. In addition, because you care so much about understanding the reason for why things are the way they are, you might get stuck spending hours trying to psychoanalyze yourself. While this can be useful at times, it can become paralyzing if it causes you to waste time trying to understand something rather than simply trusting that your feelings are legitimate. Now, what about the signs that you're the most intelligent personality type? The INTP. Check out this other video that will tell you whether you are or are not an INTP.